So how does Earth's rotation result in day and night? Well, the Earth is only hit by the Sun on one side. So as Earth rotates, the part of the Earth that gets hit by the sunlight changes. So the part that's on the other side is at night, and the part that gets hit by the sunlight is at day. Some people might think that the rotation axis of the planet is straight, but it's actually tilted 22.5 degrees, so it looks more like this instead of looking like this. Then this causes the seasons, because when the Earth is hit by sunlight, a hemisphere gets hit by more sunlight than the other. And well, as Earth rotates around the Sun, the hemisphere that gets hit with more light changes. So for example, now the northern hemisphere is getting hit with more sunlight, but if, let's say, well, when the Earth is on the other side, then the southern hemisphere would get hit with more sunlight, and then this would mean that the southern hemisphere is on summer and the northern one is on winter, because, well, obviously if you get hit by more sunlight, it's gonna be hotter. Well, equinoxes are the 2 days of the year that both hemispheres get hit with the same amount of sunlight. So in this position, the northern hemisphere is getting hit with more sunlight than the southern one. But if we changed Earth's position to be like this or like this, both hemispheres would get hit with the same amount of sunlight. This means that the day and night technically should last the same time, so 12 hours and 12 hours. And this is what equinoxes are. So the two equinoxes that can happen are the March equinox and the September equinox. The September equinox can happen on September 22nd or September 23rd, and the March equinox can happen on March 20th or March 21st. When talking about the March equinox, for the northern hemisphere it means that spring is starting, and for the southern hemisphere it means that autumn is starting. When we talk about the September equinox, it's backwards. It means autumn. It means the start of autumn for the northern hemisphere and the start of spring for the southern hemisphere. The two solstices that exist are the June and the December solstice. The June solstice can happen either on June 20th, 21st or 22nd, and the December solstice can happen on December 20th, 21st, 22nd or 23rd. Well, the June solstice is the day of the year that the northern hemisphere gets hit with the most amount of light. This means that this is the longest day of the year for the people that live on the northern hemisphere, and the longest night of the year for the people that live on the southern one. And the December solstice is backwards. It means the longest day for the southern hemisphere and the longest night for the northern hemisphere. And this is the start of summer for the southern hemisphere and the beginning of winter for the northern hemisphere.